So, YSL. Obviously about the life of Yves Saint Laurent, the French designer. And I have no idea how to begin talking about this movie because I was really interested in seeing it because I didn't know anything about his life. He's never been on my radar. I don't know much about fashion or designers, and I didn't know much about his life at all. So it was interesting to see how he became who he was, but the movie was not about that. I was really interested in seeing the sort of more professional aspects of his life, of him creating gowns and of him creating his own fashion house and sort of managing that and being who he was. And I guess I was more interested in his career, but it was a lot more about his personal life, which was very tragic. It was very dramatic and almost heartbreaking to see him fall into alcoholism and drugs and this unhealthy relationships he maintained with other men. But it was very weirdly paced because at the beginning it was going really fast. And I sort of thought, okay, this is obviously made for someone that already knows him and already knows about his life and sort of just wants to see it on the big screen but already knows all the facts. Because, I mean, it just began with him getting a job at Dior, and next thing you know, Dior's dead. And then next thing you know, he's the manager, and then he's in the army, and then he has a breakdown, and then he's not at Dior anymore. And he loses his job. And those were like the first 20 minutes of just long shots with a lot of things happening at once. So it was pretty fast-paced in the beginning, and I was sort of trying to keep up with him and his job and what exactly he was doing in his family situation. And there was the war going on in Algeria, and France was involved, and there were a lot of things happening sort of in the background. And then it sort of picked up even more. He was trying to gather money to open his own fashion house, and I was getting into that, and I wanted to see how he would raise the money, but it just happened. I mean, in 5 minutes he already had all the money. It happened so quickly. They just brushed over sort of his professional life, and which is a shame because that's what I wanted to see. But I guess this movie wasn't really made for me. And then next thing you know, he's in Marrakesh and he's creating gowns there, and then he's doing drugs and he's drinking, even though like 15 minutes earlier he said, I don't drink ever. So it's clearly a descent in his life, but it happened too quickly. There wasn't any really time for you to appreciate his relationships with people, especially his boyfriend Pierre, who sort of came into his life, and there was a brief scene of them having dinner, which was so awkward to watch, but that's a good thing. And next thing you know, they're living together, and next thing you know, he's helping him get money for the fashion house, and then they spent an uncomfortably long time dwelling over his affairs with other men and his drinking and his problems at home. But at the same time, it was still fast-paced, and it still felt like they were just brushing over things. And the scenes were always so short, and in a lot of them nothing was actually happening. It was just conversations between people. And only, you know, my favorite parts were actually the voiceover, because it's told from the perspective of Pierre, his partner over the years, who at the beginning of the movie is selling all their paintings and of their art that they've collected over the years, because he says that he doesn't want to live with all those items that him and Yves collected over the years. So he's auctioning them off. And he was the most interesting part to me, because his voiceover was actually giving us more information than the actual movie. Without the voiceover, everything would feel so messy and chaotic. And I guess I just enjoyed the voiceover more than anything. The style was great. There were some great shots, especially the one with Yves laying on the like by the pool. That was really pretty shot. And the acting was fantastic. I really didn't like Pierre as a person, but at the same time I sort of felt sorry for him. And then Yves, he was so likable, but then he made such bad decisions, and he behaved like an awful person. And at the same time you also feel sorry for him, because he is sort of a genius that's trapped in this world, really not knowing what to do. Only thing he knows is how to work, and that takes so much energy and time and focus. And the thing that he loved the most, his work, was actually destroying him in the end. And I imagine that someone that's sort of interested in fashion and designers in their lives would enjoy this movie. But I don't think that someone who's interested in the sort of professional aspect would like it. I didn't get enough out of it, I suppose. I really liked the main actor. I think he was really, really good. I have no idea if he was accurate. I don't know if his portrayal was accurate. I have no idea if he did a good job. But it felt like he did. I felt like I was watching a real person, and I really enjoyed seeing him on screen. And he had a good presence. He was always very awkward, and I guess this movie just wasn't really made for me. I enjoyed it. I was a bit bored sometimes, but my camera is doing weird things. I was a bit bored at times, but I can't really say anything bad about it, because I don't think that was made for me. I don't think that I was the targeted audience, someone that has no clue about fashion and anything like that. And I was just interested in something completely different. I was interested in seeing his work ethics, I suppose. And that was very briefly in the movie, but those were my favorite parts. So I would recommend this movie to someone that actually cares about it. It's not that I didn't care, but I cared about something different, so I didn't get that. It's not a bad movie, I don't think, but it was very weirdly paced. I just couldn't keep up with it, and then sometimes they just lingered on things that I had no interest in. And they sort of skipped all the parts that I wanted to get into. Like his, him at the studio trying to figure out new ways to make a dress, and the fashion shows and the chaos behind it. They really skipped over that one. So, not a bad movie, YSL. Not a bad movie, but not really for me, I guess. I do recommend it to someone who actually cares, but it wasn't really for me. But it was enjoyable, and I would recommend it for the acting. If nothing else, I think it was interesting to see these characters develop, even though it was extremely quickly. It's sort of jarring to see one character in the beginning and then how he is at the end, and see that juxtaposition. So yeah, a YSL. I have nothing else to say, I suppose. It wasn't bad, but I guess it wasn't for me. I was not the targeted audience for this one. That's for sure.